Glory to Jesus Christ. Welcome back to another episode of City of Desert and reading from the first volume of the Philokalia. And currently we are reading the writings and the sayings of Evagrius of Pontus. And if you're following along today, we are on page 60 and we are picking up with saying number 41 towards the bottom of the page. And these sayings are all Evagrius' writings on prayer. And though they are very brief, I think they offer perfect counsel in the things that we often struggle with in the interior life. Evagrius writes, "See whether you stand truly before God in your prayer, or are overcome by the desire for human praise, using prolonged prayer as a disguise." So even when we are engaged in the practice of prayer, we have to be watchful of what is going on within our hearts and our intention, that we can be driven by our own ego, even in the practice of turning towards God, the practice of prayer. And Evagrius says, oftentimes we will use prolonged prayer, that is spending a long period of time in prayer as a disguise to make others think that we are engaged very deeply in our relationship with God, that we are prayers, when in reality, the motivation behind this can be simply the strength of our ego, our pride driving us to want to appear religious, both to ourselves and in the eyes of others, can be a very seductive temptation. And the fathers are very clear and direct about this. They knew it from experience, that in the most subtle fashion, even in regards to the pursuit of virtue, the ego always presses to be center stage. And so there is a kind of dismantling of the religious ego that must take place within the spiritual life. The dismantling of the false self when it comes to our relationship with God, in order that we might truly put on the mind of Christ, that we might put on Christ, and that we might be driven by his spirit of truth alone. And so let us pray today for the spirit of humility, especially in the practice of prayer, that we would understand our poverty and seek God alone for his healing and forgiveness. Thank you, and God bless you, and have a wonderful day.